Transformation Thursday, so let's take a look back at the first 2 months of ownership with the DA9 Integra. I've been using YouTube to document getting back into the import car scene after being gone for 10 years. And my car of choice is a DA9 Integra. It's a 1992 RS model. Today I will catch you up to speed on all the progress that we made over the last 2 months. Whenever I say we, it's because I don't do all the work myself. I'm not much of a mechanic. I've had lots of help from my buddy Seth, my buddy Marcus, and a friend Dustin. He's a mechanic at a dealership. So these three guys have really helped me get this car together in a really short amount of time. Thank you so much, guys, for all the hard work that you put in on this car already, and I got more coming at you, so get ready. And with that being said, let's get out to the shop and we'll start on the rear suspension first. So if you had watched my install video with CRX Seth on the coilovers, we went ahead and put on a True Heart toe and camber kit, as well as rear lower control arms. We also did centric brake pads and rotors. Seth had been running a set of DA9 trailing arms on his CRX for the rear disc conversion. Whenever you put DA9 trailing arms on a CRX, it makes the rear of the car a little wider than the OEM spec. So it was fine with him running his OEM wheels, but he wanted to put on a set of aftermarket wheels that he had. So he had to go back to a CRX OEM trailing arm. So he pulled these off, and he had already kind of repainted those, cleaned them up really nice, and he had installed a brand new set of hard race trailing arm bushings. Mine were completely trashed and worn out, so that is a huge come up for me. He only had a few miles on these. He had them on his car for about 6 months, and he doesn't ever drive that car, so these have hardly any wear. This should last me forever, so super stoked about that. Thanks, Seth. Ooh, boys, summertime is hitting. Please pardon the sweat. It just got super muggy really fast here. Like I said, it's Kentucky, super muggy and way hotter than it ever should be. So this is kind of my first taste of it this year, so I'm not adapting well yet. Okay, so for the front, we did the Maxpeedingrods coilovers, the outer tie rod ends, the centric brake pads and rotors. I think that was all. After we got that installed, my buddy Dustin Thompson that I mentioned, he took over and he installed the inner tie rod. I used Moog inner and outer tie rods, as well as a Moog upper control arm and a Moog lower ball joint. So everything's Moog with all new ball joints. It's about everything that I could think of up front. Basically everything up here is new. Now under the hood, it's mostly just been catching up on maintenance. So one of the first things I did, my buddy Marcus, he put on the timing belt and water pump for me, and he fixed the oil leak from the oil pan. It was leaking at the drain plug as well as the gasket itself. And after he took the pan off, he noticed how dented up it was. He noticed that the drain plug was leaking. So we ended up putting a brand new oil pan on it with a brand new gasket, sealed that up, and that's good to go now. Now I made the rookie mistake of assuming that he could put back on it had a Felpro valve cover gasket on it. I thought that you could reuse that a couple of times before you needed to get a new one, but it didn't work out. It leaked oil everywhere when I got it back. It was spitting, you could literally see oil spitting out over here on this side. So I took the valve cover off. I put a brand new OEM full gasket kit with the little rubber bushings and all that stuff that goes with it from the factory. And I repainted the valve cover while I was at it too. It came out really good. It's the first time I've ever used that wrinkle paint, and it came out looking really good. I think it looks like it's straight from the factory, so it looks cool. Marcus hit the manifold heat shield with some wrinkle paint, so that looks good too. After I got some degreasing done, it looks good under here now. It runs fantastic. The engine's really strong and healthy. While Dustin had to do some suspension work, I got to asking him about old air conditioner systems, because it seemed like it was coming on, but it wasn't blowing out anything cold. So he got to looking at it, and he recharged it and put some dye in it, and it was leaking out of the stem, out of the valve stem. So he took off the little converter here, and the valve stem, the little Schrader valve stem was loose. So he tightened that up, and then he recharged it, and so far it's blowing cold, guys. I've got ice cold air conditioning in this car. None of my old DAs had air conditioning, and this is something that I'm going to, hopefully, we're praying that it doesn't leak out, and hopefully it just stays good to go. If it's that simple of a fix, I'll be really, really surprised. So let's cross our fingers that we have AC all summer. If you haven't already watched my interior video, make sure whenever this one's over, you go back and find that one and watch it. It gives you a little backstory on why I chose the parts that I did. But long story short, I've got a Momo Monte Carlo leather with red stitching in 350 millimeters with a Momo hub. And I always like the Skunk Tooth Integra Type R replica shifter, and I pair that with a JDM Integra Type R shift boot that's also leather with red stitching to match the steering wheel. Other than that, the interior is pretty stock and it's in really nice shape for its age especially. The upholstery is still great, the carpet's in nice shape. Like I mentioned, the air conditioner is now working. Can't really ask for anything more out of a 30-year-old car. Now, I haven't done a whole lot to the exterior of the car, but in my opinion, these cars don't need a whole lot done. In my opinion, these need to kind of stay tastefully modded and stay kind of close to OEM looking at least. So I changed out the wheels and tires. I'm running Inky 92s. They're 15x7 plus 38. I wrapped those with a set of hand-cooked tires. They're 195/50/15. I did a rear wiper delete on the back hatch just to clean that line up a little bit. And up front, I put a set of JDM headlights and amber bumper lights in there just to kind of give that a little color contrast. And my favorite lip of all time, the JDP OE2 carbon fiber lip. I had one of those on a previous DA that I owned, and hands down my favorite lip ever made for these cars, so I had to get another one. I recently put a new hood bra on it. The one that it came with was pretty busted up and kind of nasty, and it's covering up a little bit of hood damage, so it's kind of pulling double duties, hiding some damage and making the front end look a little bit better. Other than that, all I've done is put on a new set of wiper blades. I always run Bosch Icon on everything that I run, and I also painted the wiper blade arms with some trim paint. So as you can see, a whole lot's been done in a short amount of time. I'm loving the way that this car is turning out already. I'm having a blast driving it. I drove it over 200 miles this weekend, and it averaged out over 31 miles to the gallon. I'm loving that with gas prices going up, which this isn't my daily driver, but I still like to have it as an option. When the weather's nice, I can take that instead of my truck. It gets 15, so that's huge. I love it. I'm really enjoying this car. It's so much fun to drive. I've enjoyed taking it to some events already this year. Many more events coming up in the future. We have plans to go to Import Alliance since we're only 2 hours from Nashville. So that'll be coming up later on this summer. But what's next before then? Before Import Alliance, I'd like to have some more maintenance done. I believe I have a small power steering leak from the pump, so that's gonna get fixed soon, I believe. I think Dustin's gonna help me out with that. And he pointed out that both axles have leaking and busted boots. So I'm kind of weighing my options on axles. I don't know if I should just get off the shelf ones from Napa, or if I should invest in the Raxels ones that are OEM rebuilds. Somebody recommended those, and they look like they'd be a lot higher quality, but I don't know if they're gonna hold up on a lowered car. I know that that's always kind of a problem with axles whenever you lower them, especially as low as I like to go. So if you have any experience with axles on a lowered car, definitely drop your experience with them in the comment section down below. That would be huge. So for the interior, I do need a new driver's seat. I mentioned in a previous video, they've got it leaned way back and it's welded into position, so I can't move it. I sit pretty vertical whenever I'm driving, so that's got to get addressed. I've got to find a new seat. I've been looking for one, and it's a big item to ship, so most people don't want to mess with it, which is understandable. I get it, but I'm gonna have to find one from somewhere, and there are none of these locally, so I don't really know what I need to do about that. But I'm gonna get a seat eventually. I've got to find one. Now, when I swap the seat, whenever I do finally find one, I'm really considering. Well, I gotta have floor mats. Okay, so I could just go ahead and get floor mats and put them in there with the OEM carpet, but the OEM carpet's in pretty nice shape. It's not stained up like most of them are. It's nice, it looks really good, but it's old and thin. I've reached out to a company. They sent me some samples of their material and their colors. The material that they use, the color matches up really well, and the material is thicker and more plush and way nicer than the OEM stuff, and it's custom molded for my car. And I'm gonna get the floor mats to match that as well whenever I do that. So I think that would be a huge upgrade to the interior of the car. make it look like new again, basically. Now, like most DAs, I'm missing the third brake light cover. I've got a new third brake light to put in. It's got one of the tabs that are broken, so I'm gonna try to kind of fix it first before I install that. So that'll be coming up pretty soon, probably. I haven't even had time to pull out of the box and really mess with it yet. So I do have it, it's here, and I'll get to that here coming up pretty soon. Also on the interior, I've been weighing options on the radio. So it's got this aftermarket Kenwood single DIN head unit. That's not gonna stay for sure. I don't ever listen to it. I'm thinking about putting back in an OEM one, like the tape deck. It's just for looks. I don't really ever listen to it. It might be nice on a long trip if I had one of those double DIN touchscreen units with Bluetooth and, you know, some amenities. That might be kind of cool, but like I said, I don't use it much. Actually might just do a block off plate and get rid of it altogether. I'm still deciding. I don't know what to do with that, so I'm not in a rush for that. I'll figure that out later. That's not pressing or urgent, but I don't know. I'm having a little struggles rolling up and down my windows, and I'm afraid that I'm gonna break my handles off. I am gonna try to figure out how these tracks get lubricated and do that. So if you have any experience with that, or if you know any videos that has a tutorial or anything like that, please drop me a comment with a link in it. That would be awesome. I don't know anything about taking the door panels off these cars. I don't wanna break any clips or anything. And I also wanna make sure that I'm lubing the right spots on the door tracks and everything. So if you have any experience with that, hook me up, man, let me know. Now I'm really hoping in about a year or so I have a new paint job put on this car, but in the meantime I might just go ahead and have it PDR'd, and I'm definitely gonna be doing a paint correction to kind of last me, kind of hold me over until I get a new paint job on it. The paint's not in that bad a shape, really. My previous red DA, it was a lot worse, and my buddy Marcus, he polished it up for me, and it looked way better, and I think this one will come out even better. I'm gonna do like a legit paint correction on this. I'm gonna start with a clay bar, and then I'm gonna use the compound, the Adams compound that I used on the headlights, and then I'm gonna do the Adams polish, and then I'm gonna try out that ceramic coating. So that'll be coming up in future videos as well. If you're into, I've never done that before, so I'm gonna have to kind of dig in and learn some stuff, but I'm really looking forward to that, and I think that'll make a huge difference on the exterior of the car. I think I can bring back a lot of that gloss and shine that it has, 'cause it's in, you know, the paint's still in pretty decent shape, so I think that it'll hold up really well. Now I have been looking for a hood ever since I brought the car home. I'm not in a huge hurry for that. I'm probably gonna put it on whenever I do eventually get to the paint job. And honestly, since I put this new hood bra on, I kind of like it. I wasn't a huge fan of the hood bra whenever I brought it home. It was all busted up and kind of old and ratty, but I put this brand new one on. It fits better, it looks better. I've kind of been leaning into the 90s vibe with this car anyway, getting a little nostalgic, and I used to see those hood bras on everything back in the day, so it really kind of takes me back to my back whenever I was like 12 and I was seeing every car on the road was teal and had a hood bra on it. So it kind of reminds me of that, and I've really been kind of enjoying that look on it. It looks kind of cool to me now. So no hurry on the new hood. I might just stick with the hood bra a little bit longer. I have been asked a lot about these Maxpeedingrods coilovers, so I do plan on doing a full review of these coilovers in the near future. I need a little more time with them, and I still haven't got them 100% dialed in yet. I'm gonna make some more adjustments on them pretty soon, and then after I spend a little more time with them, I'll give everybody my full thoughts on that and let you know what I think about them. But I'll give you a spoiler alert, I don't hate them. Now the last thing on the list for me in this car is performance. I'm not a race car driver. I don't really care too much about performance. Honestly, I've been kind of enjoying the stock B18 that's in it. It's got great mid-range. The gearing is, everybody complains that it's long geared, but whatever, I mean, it's great on the highway. So I've really been having a good time with this car as is, but my previous DAs, they were both LS VTEC build-ups. So I do kind of have that little itch to do a little bit of performance modifications, and I've been kind of weighing my options between doing an LS VTEC or maybe like a GSR swap or something else in it. But like the more I think about it, I've kind of been there, done that, and I've never done a turbo on a Honda, and I've got the right engine and the right transmission. Both of them seem really healthy. I think it's a really good candidate for a little turbo. So if a turbo build series is something that you'd be interested in watching with this car, definitely let me know. It'll be after the paint job and stuff. It'll probably be over a year from now if I ever get to it. So, but I am kind of been thinking about it. If you have some good resources where I can read drop them in the comment section down below. So if I did a turbo, I would be thinking like 8 PSI and keep it kind of simple and reliable. And I don't need like a 500 horsepower build or nothing like that, but I don't know what kind of horsepower 8 PSI on this motor would give me. So if you have any experience with boosted stock B18s, let me know. Hit me up on Instagram or down in the comment section, that'd be awesome. I don't know, G2IC is shut down still, so I don't have the old resources that I used to have. I don't know if that'd be like a 250 horsepower situation or what. So educate me, guys, I need some help. So that's gonna be it for me today, guys. I hope you have enjoyed this look back at the first 2 months of ownership and all the progress that we've made. Thank you so much for following along so far. If you haven't already, please share these videos with your friends that are into the old school Honda and JDM scene. I got some events coming up, so there will definitely be more content coming. So if you haven't, please click the subscribe button down below. And thank you very much, and I'll see you next time.